Okay, what's going on, guys? So today we're going to look at question 25, and this is from the SAT number 16 reading section. And let's jump in. So the question says, the main purpose of the second paragraph, lines 16 to 31, is to do something. So we're looking for main purpose, specifically of the second paragraph. So the way that we're going to solve this is we're going to go back to the second paragraph. We're kind of going to look at each of the sentences, and kind of in our head, we're going to basically ask ourselves, what are most of these sentences about? Basically, what are the proportions of things that they're talking about? Are they talking 80% about this, 20% about that? And it is helpful to sort of think in proportions, because we'll just pick the majority, whatever they talk about the most, that's pretty much going to be the primary purpose. The second sort of calibrating question we can ask ourselves is, why is the author writing this? Or another way we could phrase that is, what would be missing if we took this out of the passage, right? How would that affect the overall passage? So let's check this out. So question 25 is down here. Line 16 to 31 is this whole paragraph here. And we're going to look for basically what is the main purpose of this paragraph. So this starts by saying Nocera's artificial leaf, which if you remember from some of the other questions, this is different from the bionic leaf. This was the first leaf that was invented, and then it basically became incorporated or integrated into the bionic leaf. So it starts by saying his leaf serves as the fuel source of the bionic leaf, and it works by sandwiching a photovoltaic cell between two thin metal oxide catalysts. Then it explains when it's submerged in a glass of water at room temperature, it does this. Then it says that current from this wafer is fed to the catalyst, then they split the water molecules, then oxygen comes on one side, hydrogen rises on the other. Then it says Nocera has been perfecting this artificial leaf for a long time, right? And it's far more efficient than a field-grown plant. And it says he can reach efficiencies of 70% to 80%, which is improving constantly, right? Because of the underlying solar wafer technology, which is improving constantly. So if we're sort of to compress this and get a sense of what are the proportions of things that are happening here, we should recognize that we start by explaining, how does this bionic leaf work? It works by doing this. Then it continues to explain some of the process by which the bionic leaf functions, right? It talks about when it's submerged in this glass of water, it will mimic this. It basically says the current comes through here, and it's explaining basically the mechanics of this leaf. Then we have a couple sentences at the end, which talk more generally about the efficiencies he's trying to achieve, the efficiencies that already has attained, and how long he's been working on the leaf. So in my mind, I would say, okay, what's the point of this? It seems to be pretty much just explaining how the artificial leaf works, and then has a couple little points about the efficiencies, etc. So we're probably going to look for an answer choice that will tell us that the second paragraph, the purpose of it is to tell us more about how this artificial leaf works. So answer choice A says that the main purpose is to discuss the advantages of a potential competitor to the bionic leaf. The only way that this would make sense is if we would frame basically the artificial leaf as a competitor to the bionic leaf. But that's not really the dynamic, or that's not really the relationship between the two leaves. Basically, the artificial leaf serves as the fuel source of the bionic leaf, so it's actually a part of the bionic leaf, and they don't sit side by side as competitors. And it doesn't really take the paragraph doesn't really take the structure of saying, well, here's advantages of this, and here's the advantages of this, right? So it doesn't really make this comparison in the paragraph, so it's not a good answer choice. Get rid of A. B says that the purpose is to explain the workings of a central component of the bionic leaf. So explain the workings is pretty much makes sense, because explaining the workings of the artificial leaf is a really great way to characterize what's happening in the second paragraph. So it's a good answer choice. The second part here, though, central component of the bionic leaf, we want to make sure we understand what that means, right? Because we're like, all right, I thought we were talking about the artificial leaf, not the bionic leaf. But we need to remember that the artificial leaf is a component of the bionic leaf. As said here, right, it serves as the fuel source in the leaf. So this is a pretty good answer choice, because that is what this paragraph is doing. C says that the main purpose is to describe the role of photosynthesis in the development of the bionic leaf. And this is a choice that a lot of students will sometimes choose, because we're talking about, it does mention photosynthesis, right? How it mimics photosynthesis. It does talk here about comparing the efficiencies of the leaf to the efficiencies of regular natural photosynthesis. However, there's a couple things that are wrong with this one. So one is that the overall focus of the passage, remember I talked about proportions, is not about photosynthesis. It talks about way more than just the process of photosynthesis. It's really sort of talking about the inner workings of this bionic leaf and different efficiencies. So I would say the overall focus is not specifically on the process of photosynthesis. But beyond that, I would say that what the artificial leaf is doing is not actual photosynthesis, but mimicking photosynthesis. So we might say, well, maybe photosynthesis sort of served as the template for the creation of the artificial leaf, but that is us sort of adding in our own spin. That's making some assumptions and connections that don't exist actually on the page. So we want to be cautious about doing that. The second thing is that it's not necessarily talking about the role of photosynthesis in the development of the bionic leaf. It's just talking about how photosynthesis is sort of the nicest or closest comparison to the process of the artificial leaf. So not a good answer choice. D says that the paragraph serves to compare the efficiency of the bionic leaf with that of the artificial leaf. And that's incorrect because the only efficiency that's compared is down here, where we're comparing the artificial life, right, or artificial leaf more efficient than a field-grown plant. So we're comparing the efficiency of the artificial leaf to naturally occurring plants and the difference in their ability to photosynthesize. So we're not comparing the efficiency of the bionic leaf to that of the artificial leaf. So for that reason, we can get rid of D, which is going to leave us with answer choice B, which is our correct answer for question 25.